Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix archivist, and I spent the last 12 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
I'm Mandy, and I am so glad after 50 episodes of this podcast, somebody is finally explaining what this show is about.
Yeah, we do get a little bit of nice exposition, but before we tell you what episode we're talking about today, as if you hadn't listened to the end of the last podcast where I told you what episode we were going to be talking about today, I'd like to introduce a very special guest. He's a writer of kids comics in the UK, and he's got two podcasts, the Sonic the Comic the Podcast and Serious Disness. Please welcome to the show, Dave Bulmer.
Hello. I think you're making a broad assumption there that people are listening to your podcast in chronological order. Or in release order, rather. They can listen in any order they want. They may not have heard.
Look, I really enjoy making a lot of assumptions about things that maybe I shouldn't be. But that's...
Look, Becca feels very passionate about things being in chronological order.
Sure, I can tell. I shan't bring up, Narnia with this one. 12 years! Is that how long it took?
I'm
not surprised. By the way, I'm not surprised. I'm not going like, that seems like a long time, lazy. No, I mean, of course it took 12 years. Why did you do that?
It doesn't help that they keep making more of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to redo the whole file then.
It's really annoying. Video. It's annoying. Do you know how long it takes for Adobe Premiere to export 21 different timelines that are all 24 hours long? It's,
even just like nudging everything aside to put a new clip in must crash your computer every time. Something as long as that.
Well, thankfully I got a new computer a couple months ago, so it is
fine. That's fine.
Streamlining the process now. Yeah.
God, and this
we spent when the Christmas special came out, we spent a lot of time just having panicked messages to each other because we had already gone past the dinosaurs.
We already watched the extinction of the dinosaurs. Oh God, what do we do?
Adric killed them already.
Oh goodness me. Well, look, you've made your own bed. You knew what you were doing when you did it. You knew it would happen.
This is my fault, and you are not the first guest to ask me why I have done this.
Yeah.
I think we've had that question from pretty much every guest we've had on the show.
I would expect so, and every listener, I expect.
I still have not given a sufficient answer to that question because Becca, I don't have one.
I am making fun, but I fully understand. I have projects I have told no one because they are this sort of thing. I do understand. Because you just gotta, if nobody else has done it and you want it to exist, then you gotta do it. What else are you gonna do?
It's great because there's so, you will find people wanting to start this so many times on the internet. So many people will talk about, what if you watched it all in chronological order? It's like, I've started a spreadsheet. Yeah. And they've just gone very into the beginning. And you can kind of figure out the point where it's like, oh, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought it would, and then it died. And for some reason with Becca, it just kept going.
Yeah. I was just running away from a lot of my problems, I think. I think that's the answer.
Surprised me. And the thing is, now you can say to anyone who starts that, you can go like, well, it takes 12 years.
Yeah.
Go ahead. This is a 12-year commitment you're making, and at the end of it, you're just going to make a podcast. Is that what you want?
Is that what you want, to be a podcaster? Really?
I've done
this economy.
We're in, I think, year 6 of Sonic the Comic the Podcast, which is it's sort of one of these projects in that there's a comic series that came out, and whenever anyone does a retrospective of it, they're like, oh, we'll do the this saga and we'll do the that saga. Me and my co-hosts are like, no, you won't. That's not it. That's not what to do. You got to do one episode per issue. You've got to cover the adverts. You've got to cover the letters page. Don't worry about arcs. That's not what this is. You got to do it all, and we've done it all. And that's That's what I did with the end of my 30s. I'm 43 now. And I can't change that. Then I spent the last 5 years doing a podcast about Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the commitment you're making. If you want to do that with Doctor Who, it's going to take you 12 years. And the podcast, well, that's been going for 1 year now?
Yeah.
How long's the podcast going to go on for? 50?
This is my redo of the last 5 years on Broadway, but instead of a marriage, it's about a podcast.
Yes.
I did at some point before the Christmas special aired, and like obviously not counting any of like season 2 of the new show. I did the math, and this podcast, if we continue doing 1 week and there is no new Doctor Who ever, it will be going until 2048.
That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah. Completely reasonable.
By the end of it, I will have paid off my student loans.
We hope.
From all of the money that you're making from this podcast.
From that sweet podcast moolah.
Look, I got into podcasting for one reason, the money.
So Becca, you're someone then who likes to have stability in their hobbies. You like to know that what you've got going on is going to last, and you don't have to worry about developing any new hobbies. You're just like, listen, this is me. I've got this down.
Yeah. I mean, it's it is like it started as like an inside joke with just myself of like because I started watching the new series and I was just like, wouldn't it be funny if somebody did this? That would be hilarious. Nobody's gonna do it, but that would be funny. And then before I knew it, I had a spreadsheet going and I was watching classic Doctor Who and I was just like, this is becoming less and less of a joke with each passing minute. I don't know what's happening. And
have you had to originate all of the dates yourself, or is that did you there's a wiki
many
you
of
could look
them
at for that? Yeah.
The wiki has been very helpful in dating certain things, but some things, such as today's episode, The Runaway Bride.
Yeah. How the hell do you know when that's set?
I have a system of involving a random number generator that I use to
hang on a minute. Then that's not necessarily chronological order. If it's just in a random number generator order.
Well, it's better than not including it. Come on. This is vital stuff.
So hang on. Are you telling me that you've just made up when this is set in the timeline?
Yes, but like, look, sometimes we have to make up our own canon in order to make everything else work.
Yeah, fair enough.
What I mean?
Yeah. It's led to a lot of instances of us watching the Tales of the TARDIS version of a thing before we watch the actual thing.
Oh.
Yeah. We've had 3 different podcast episodes already about the Tales of the TARDIS, like, sections of those things that they've released.
Oh, wow. So those are on the chronological timeline, them going like, yes, Ace, do you remember the time that we did this? That's set earlier than anything else, and that's a set, and you've got an episode of just that.
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
It's
hats off to that. If I seem like I'm making fun of any of this, understand that I'm really in favour of everything you're telling me.
No,
I do get
fairness,
this.
You should be making fun of it.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
You should be making fun of this. This is something that more people should be making fun of than are. And frankly, I'm a little bit worried about the state of things.
Well, we just
Dave,
need to spread the word.
This podcast doesn't actually go out. It's just a very long-term intervention.
Yeah, Becca
it's hard
believes
to get everyone
it's a
in the
podcast.
room together.
Becca believes it's a podcast because she'd finished the timeline and finished the big video, and now things were going to get dark unless it carried on somehow.
This is the worst kind of intervention when people I am meeting for the first time on the podcast are telling me how much my project is like hurting them as Becca, I know you don't know me, and I know I didn't know about this until 5 minutes ago, but
Yes, by the way, I literally found out about this whole project and podcast, maybe an hour ago, like however long it's been since we started this call. So,
and thank you so much for being a last-minute guest.
I was well in the mood. I got a message off Ben saying, do you listeners know who Ben is? Got a message off Ben saying...
Yeah, enemy of the show, Ben Paddon.
Enemy of the show, yeah. Saying, like, what are you doing for the next 3 hours? And then half an hour later, I actually noticed it. So I was like, well, Ben, for the last half hour I've been watching Doctor Who. For the next 20 minutes, I'm probably going to be watching Doctor Who. But after that, anything you want. And it turns out, Doctor Who! Result!
Incredible.
This really is just kind of like, you're hitting like the Tumblr stereotype of what they think British people do at their time. They're just sitting at home drinking tea and watching Doctor Who.
I've got a cup of Doctor Tea in my hand. I've got a cup of tea. I keep trying to say Doctor. I'm holding a mug of tea. I'm watching Doctor Who. I'm talking about Doctor Who. And look, there's a lot of people in the UK that don't do that sort of thing all day, but I'm not one of those people. I do that sort of thing all day. Listeners, my Doctor Who life is that my first memory of Doctor Who is Colin Baker sinking into quicksand, and that being a cliffhanger of some description. And thereafter, I think I bet I've watched every episode of Doctor Who that's aired since then. So McCoy was my Doctor when I was at primary school, and I watched all through all of that and up to the present day, including tonight with the first episode of Shooty Series 2. And I've also started a watch through in lockdown of, before they brought it all out on iPlayer, I started a watch through from the beginning. So we watched all of Hartnell, way more entertaining than I was anticipating. I thought that was going to be quite dry and boring and dusty, but no, they're good.
It is. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in that.
He's a lot better humoured than people reckon.
Yeah.
And we're now about halfway through Troughton. We hit the very difficult period where, of course, the episodes don't survive. And
yeah, that's a tough one. But have you watched any of the animated recons that they've made?
Oh yeah, we watched. Oh yeah, we've had some version of every episode. So I started out with I was on Audible. I got the the audio narrated audios, and I started with those. And then when it all came on iPlayer, then we started watching like whatever they put up, and some of them are watchable, aren't they?
Yeah.
Some of them have their moments, and some of them are absolute pure garbage. But I will say one of my favourite moments from the Troughton series has been in one of the animated bits, and that's the bit where it animated, and obviously this would be better if it was live action, and we can all hope that this survives and will be found one day, animated Patrick Troughton riding around on a Dalek, going, oh, look at me, I'm on a Dalek, look, oh, look, it's playing with me, I'm riding around, look at me, and it goes on for fully, 3 minutes longer than it should, that scene.
And then that's also supposedly a cliffhanger at the and then because the episode just ends there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Am I supposed to be? This is the only time I've ever not been worried about things.
No worries. This is absolutely fine. I'm having a really nice time. Floppity floppity.
And all up here, uphill from here.
Oh, here's my Doctor Who accolades. Listeners to this should go and find my video on YouTube, which I think is called Search YouTube for Demon Tomato Dave Doctor Who, and what you'll find is a video of my dismembered head flying around in the intro tunnel. From I think Matt Smith era or something like that, doing a really complicated a cappella arrangement of the Doctor Who theme tune, which fills you in on all 60 years of history in just 5 minutes. So you don't need to listen to this podcast, frankly. You just watch that. It's 5 minutes long and you're done. You got all of it. It's not in chronological order.
You didn't put it in chronological order by way of the universe.
This is the thing. So this is the real resource. This is amazing. I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this.
Once you get through your the rest of your classic Who rewatch and then you're just like, oh, what I need my Doctor Who fix. What am I going to do?
It's gonna come. It's
gonna watch the Stitches in Time version.
I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to Pertwee. I've never really watched any Pertwee. Maybe 1 or 2 episodes here or there when they were repeated on the telly. I've basically never watched any Tom Baker. Like my dad had the DVD of the robots. Is that a Tom Baker? Whatever one it was. It had Charnoff through the Dragon's Eye in it. And
this is such a wonderful thing to hear because particularly I think in the US for American fans who are classic Doctor Who fans, Tom Baker is the end all be all because that was what was on PBS. Everyone loves him. I do not like looking at Tom Baker's face. So I am a very unpopular figure in the American Doctor Who fandom.
Yeah, but It's pretty clear to me that he was chosen because of how weird his face was. Like, that's a key part of his doctoriness, is that he just looks so... Because he looks really weird. I would say it's the same here. I think here in the UK, Tom Baker is the Doctor Who. Like, before the revival, if you wanted to do a Doctor Who impression, you did Tom Baker.
Yeah.
But it's just not been on. It's not been repeated properly. So now it is. It's on iPlayer now, so I can watch it. Trouble is, I'm stalled a little bit. I've just had that Troughton series where he's a bad Patrick Troughton and a good Patrick Troughton.
Mm-hmm. Enemy of the World, yep.
Enemy of the World did not grip me. I had trouble there. And
oh, really?
I had trouble, but now this could be me rather than it, because it also coincided with when I was evicted from a flat that I'd lived in this same flat for 20 years. It's worked out. We've come to this flat. We like this flat. It's lovely. And when we got here, we didn't have the TV set up. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have very much. So we had this Bluetooth 5G emitting box, and we had a laptop, and we just watched that Doctor Who serial. And listen, what can I tell you? We were going through a depression episode, so do you know what I mean? That may be why we didn't enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
But we stalled there and haven't really picked it up again since. So that's still ahead of us. We intend to, obviously.
Interesting.
It's just when the mood hits, you know.
That's like, I talked in our last episode about how I was trying to do a new Who rewatch a few years back, and Ben made the recommendations like, oh, well, you haven't watched like Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures. You could also go in and watch those simultaneously. Wow. And so I started watching it. I got midway through the first season of Torchwood.
Oh, well done.
And I stopped, and I have not gone back at all. No. I cannot watch Torchwood.
Nope, it's not good, is it? Torchwood. I remember that. I remember those days. That was difficult times.
I had been shown out of context Cyberwoman. So I just had randomly been shown it at some point because people were like, particularly me, since I am a pole dancer. I've done burlesque stuff.
Right.
So it's like my idea of a Cyberwoman, very different. They showed me this, and I had the sense of like, well, clearly this is bad, but there's obviously context that I'm missing. This feels like you're like 3 seasons deep. You're running out of ideas. It was episode 2.
Yeah. No, you were right with the clearly this is bad. Yes, yeah. Torchwood. Are we being controversial? How do you feel about Torchwood?
It's fine. I don't feel like I have any strong opinions of.
That's good.
Torchwood.
Okay, good. Then I can't offend. I can offend the listeners, I'm sure. Sorry, listeners.
Right.
No, that was a trying time. Gosh, I didn't like Torchwood. Oh, it really felt like something about the way. Sarah Jane Adventures, obviously that's good. I haven't watched it, but I understand it's good, and I will watch it. But Torchwood, it was one of those things where it tried so hard to be like grown up that it came across as so puerile, and I just disliked it. I do remember there was a couple of laughs. I enjoy me and the friends whose flat we used to go round to have Doctor Who watching parties. We got a great laugh out of what was it? Oh, my poor friend, as he puts his hand on a big dead whale. That was lovely. Oh, my poor friend. Oh no, it wasn't dead, was it? They were hurting it. They were cutting meat out of it. Because that's hardcore. Because it's Torchwood.
Free edgy 5me.
Edgy, exactly. Didn't like Torchwood. Sorry, Torchwood fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, that last one with Capaldi was quite good. Don't get me wrong.
That was not the last one.
Wasn't it? Oh,
there was also Miracle Day.
It was the last one as far as I was concerned.
Good job. Yay.
Torchwood is definitely a show made by people
I'll give you
who have heard of sex.
Yeah. Yes.
It would really like to try some someday.
Yeah, that's what it does. That's exactly what it feels like. It's so weird. How can something... I don't...
Okay, but... Do we want to actually talk about the Runaway Bride?
Yeah, so today we're talking about the Runaway Bride. We are still in 4306 BC, as we were last episode.
Says you.
What? What? Who are you? Where am I? What? What the hell is this place? What?
Technically, this is, I think, the first time that we, other than the Zoom recording, I'm not counting the Zoom recording, but otherwise this is the first time that we've kind of gone back to an episode, because we have previously had A Stitches in Time about the Runaway Bride.
Yes.
We saw the formation of the Earth.
Oh, sure, of course, naturally.
We watched them watching that.
Yes.
Which happened before Donna shows up, which is what we have here.
I've just thought of something. Is that the only time in Doctor Who that they've shown the creation of the Earth? I feel like there'll be contradicting clips, won't there, from when they just forgot or just did the same thing twice or something.
They haven't actually shown the creation of the Earth. There are, I don't know. I feel like that we're gonna get more controversial as we go on. Of like, oh yeah, no, this.
You've got some surprises waiting.
I have this whole convoluted solution to the unit dating controversy.
Oh yeah.
That yeah.
I mean, sometimes the solution is the Doctor don't know what day it is.
Yeah,
he got one calendar and it just says the day of the Doctor on one of the days, and everything else is blank. So he does not know what years are.
So how will you be? Are you rejecting or incorporating whatever it was they did at Christmas? They fixed it, didn't they? Do you remember?
Which
there was when they did that whatever this year's colorized episode was. It did something about why the timeline was fluctuating. In that,
yeah, they did. Did it? Did they do that?
I mean, I don't.
It wasn't good enough for me.
Yeah.
So therefore,
I don't. The Doctor Who fans that I talk to, read all my trans friends. Had what was it? I think it was my friend Al. Was doing the joke of the trans agenda is getting these minis painted this weekend or something like this, and I was like, yeah, mine seems to be we're watching Doctor Who this weekend. Well, anyway,
yeah.
They weren't keen. It didn't go down well with them. And they're the council of Doctor Who people that I consult. So
that's amazing. I didn't know any trans people liked Doctor Who. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with them.
That does imply that, like, the colorized version of the War Games, because it has, like, their solution to it is they just show the TARDIS, like, flickering between, like, 1970 1980. Do you have to put all the 1970 clips in 1970, and then later we have
you've got to make them flicker all the way through. Back and forth, oscillating between two clips.
So we just have, like, we're going to have a clip where we're just looking at the TARDIS console, say 1970, and then we do a bunch of episodes.
And then you have to see the clip of it just saying 1980, and that counts.
1980.
Yeah, sure. I will do that. Listener, I will not do that. Don't worry. No, to me that was very, very clearly like a TARDIS malfunctioning kind of thing, and I don't know.
It doesn't count. Don't worry about it. It's just a colorization. Those are X-canon anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna throw in the little Pertwee regeneration.
Oh, you are?
In there. Like, I am gonna put that in, but
right. I don't know how I feel about it. It feels a bit. Didn't they just get it off YouTube or something? Didn't someone else make that?
I don't know.
I heard that.
Yeah, I think I think it's something. I don't know if it was like on YouTube originally or if they got the guy who made it and had them like. I don't know if it was the same thing that they pulled, but I'm pretty sure it is something where like a person made a fan edit and then they basically just like, good job, guy, do it.
Yeah,
take that.
Can we have that, please? Yeah, a little bit like the Capaldi intro that time, where they're like, "Yeah, we like that. Can we hire you? Can we just have that, please?"
Right.
And fair. I love the Capaldi intro. It was so good.
Yeah. If Doctor Who does end up getting canceled, they should just outsource it to fans, and they're just like, all right, make an episode of Doctor Who. Go.
They're not going to have a choice.
We'll take it. We'll release it.
They're not going to have any choice over the matter. That is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that about that, but like the equivalent, the next equivalent of the, what are they called? The books, the in-betweeny books, the Virgin New Adventures, is it called? The in-betweeny books.
Oh yeah.
Your Lung Barrows and all of that stuff. Yeah, those. Then that's going to be fan episodes this time. It's not going to be books. It's going to be.
Yeah.
You see, if Doctor Who gets cancelled, it won't get cancelled. You know, it'll be interesting. You've already got. Like, I've got friends now who make Doctor Who episodes, and it's just like, yeah, now I'm this Doctor, and then this is that Doctor, and so on. And it doesn't matter that whether the continuity works or not. Just make them. It's fine.
Yeah. I
mean, those are jokes. Those are the too many Doctor Who's, and so there's a deliberately being silly. But still,
Still, it still counts. It's still Doctor Who.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Runaway Bride.
Oh yeah. Did Ben warn you about having me on? Sorry. Runaway Bride.
As we mentioned beforehand, we hate tangents, and there's no excuse for doing any tangents on this show.
I love seeing Donna again, in particular since this is one of the few times, as Becca has mentioned, our previous episode, we talk about Doomsday, just the bit of David Tennant crying without context, because the bit that has Rose in it is in a different timeline. So we don't see that bit. We just see him crying.
Yeah.
And then just having Donna immediately burst in and bully him.
Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah, I do like that he has basically no time to mourn Rose at all before Donna is just like, what the hell is going on? It's pretty wonderful.
It's actually a very elegant way of handling that, because it would have been, you've got the end of the series, and that's the end of Rose, and then you need something to keep. It would be too sad to end the season on that. So to have this not just a weird thing, but like it reads differently now because of how Catherine Tate's best thing is Doctor Who now. But at the time, a gigantic celebrity appear in the TARDIS, and him just go, what? That does in fact take the edge off that, and mean that you can end the series as viewers going like, oh, cool, that was fun. And then at Christmas, we don't have to worry about spending half an hour of a Christmas special mourning a not dead but not dead friend.
Yeah.
And instead, you get to pal around with Catherine.
You give the fans time to grieve and mourn Rose, even if you don't give it to the Doctor.
That's it. And we all handled that online. That was all sorted out. And then I assume were you two both watching at the time?
I don't think I was
not watching it
no.
I didn't watch it at the time. I watched it later in probably 2011, 2012-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like Matt Smith was airing when I started watching Doctor Who.
Okay. And how about you? When did you come into it?
I was also not watching this live. I started watching New Who probably 2008.
Right.
Or thereabouts.
Oh, not long after this then.
Yeah.
So basically, the reason I ask is just because I just wanted to check. Do you guys know how much we hated Catherine Tate before this?
No.
I had never heard of her.
Give us the goss.
Well, no.
I had never heard of her, and then after she was on Doctor Who, did her season on Doctor Who, then she was on The Office for a couple of seasons, and I was like, hey, it's Catherine Tate from Doctor Who.
Well, it's just that, and that I've said it, I've done clickbait there. I've nothing. Catherine Tate, who I've been loving Doctor Who, so sure. Catherine, if you hear this, heart. But when this started, the Catherine Tate show was one of the most popular comedy shows in the UK, and in those days, this was back when telly mattered, and so we didn't have streaming yet and all this stuff. So, yeah, her appearing on the TARDIS there was as big a celebrity as you could possibly think of on UK TV at the time. But her show was so ubiquitous and just kind of not good, and it was all. I suppose you could say the equivalent was if Matt Lucas turned up on Doctor Who. It was sort of like that.
That would be absurd. That would never happen.
It was like if the closest I can think of is if David Walliams was announced as the new companion. Everyone would just be like, "What? Oh, come on, not Walliams." And that was So when she was going to be in the Christmas special, we were all like, "Oh no, really? Catherine Tate, her show had already moved on to it started out all right, but it was already in that phase of comedy where it's just catchphrases now, and everyone knows that she says, "Am I bothered?"
Right.
And it's got to the point where literally the Prime Minister has said, "Am I bothered?" in a Catherine Tate clip on the television. The real Prime Minister actually appeared in it, and it was like, oh my god. So she comes on the show, and we're like, oh, there goes the neighbourhood then. This isn't going to be good. And to be honest, Runaway Bride was hit or miss. It was okay, she was all right in it. When they announced that she was literally going to be the companion for a whole series, genuinely we thought that was the end of Doctor Who. It was then we won't watch it anymore. And she was the best one yet. It was It was the biggest turnaround I think I've ever seen for like people's opinion of an actor. And hey, let's go back further. Billie Piper was a teen pop star and had not displayed that she would be good on the telly outside that context. Like, I didn't know that. I'm sure she'd acted in something, but it wasn't commonly known. So when she was going to start on Doctor Who, it was like, what are you on about? All right, we're going to obviously watch it, but what? And then she was quite good. And then Catherine Tate comes in and she's flipping brilliant. It's like, what is Russell's power here of just turning people good? And actually, of course, what it is that he had no time for moaning minis, as he called them, us, nerds just randomly not liking women on the television that he did like. And he was like, no, look, watch them. They're good. And we're like, oh, yeah, sorry, Russell. Actually, you're right. Actually, that was a bit problematic of us. Sorry there, Russell. And it's taught me stuff. Like, I don't do that anymore. I generally don't just dislike someone because I don't watch their program anymore.
That I had never really thought about that, because again, by the time that I started watching the show, it was like I already knew that Catherine Tate was going to be a companion when I saw The Runaway Bride. I knew that she was a beloved companion that I had seen just like many clips of and just scenes throughout. So having I only know her as the person everyone loves in Doctor Who. And it says a lot that when Russell T Davies is bringing Doctor Who back or trying to save the show, it's like, we're getting Catherine Tate and David Tennant. Put them together, it'll make them watch it.
And when you heard that, you were like, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that is going to revive the show. Yeah, you've got it. Because, and wasn't that the only thing? So Catherine Tate amazed us all. She was so good as Donna Noble. And just unequivocally, right? Like the best companion from the RTD New Who run. And, but there was that real sour taste at the end of really? That's what you're doing with Donna. You're erasing it all. You're taking away all the character development she went through. You're making her a worse person. And then we all just had to live with that for years and years and years. And then fixed it, mate. Just came back, brought them both back, fixed it, mate. I fucking love those 3 specials. They're so good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, it is something. I mean, also to what you said about the how kind of finishing this after Doomsday and kind of that the complete tone shift and not really it makes sense in terms a Christmas special of you don't want to spend all that time kind of mourning Rose, but at the same time, because they don't have it just becomes this lingering presence throughout the rest of the series, and then that just gets bigger and it piles on and there's more stuff and they just kind of keep throwing things onto the pile. Okay, well, now let's throw Catherine Tate onto the pile. Let's throw Amy and Rory on the pile. And getting that big thing. And then, so when they come back, it's let's fix all of that, because if we are going to bring the show back, it is being so heavily burdened by all of these kind of trauma porn that we've basically been doing.
Yeah. It needed to come back clean, and it did.
Funnily enough, they do that of okay, we're abandoning, we're getting rid of all of the hang-ups that we have from the previous quote-unquote New Who. And so the new series can get back to what it needs to do, which is reference the classic series pretty much every episode.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose. Yes, I've said there it needed to come back clean, and it did, but it didn't, did it? And it even didn't, because if you call it up on Disney Plus or whatever, it's season 1, but first there are these 3 episodes that wrap up what is it, 15 years, 20 years, and you have to know all of it.
It's very weird. Yeah, and then they were what we should do is, first of all, constantly talk about the Doctor having a granddaughter.
Yeah, Susan.
And then also bring back Sutek.
Yeah. Flipping Sutek.
That'll get new people into the show.
I we can reference Doctor Who's history, but only for stupid reasons.
Do you know what?
Only be like, hey, there was an evil dog. You remember the evil dog? This dog's bad.
I respect that. Like that, if that's the way you're gonna go, it's like, yeah, we'll do lore, but only for stupid reasons. That's not a bad rule of thumb.
The evil dog has been here the entire time. There's every scene, there's been an evil dog there.
Sutek is the Sam Reich of just like, I've been here the entire time.
He doesn't mind when he's doing something that's ridiculous. He just doesn't mind. Like when he comes up with something like that, and he's like, yeah, it was there all the time, and everyone goes, that doesn't make sense, and he just goes, yeah, I don't care. I'm writing a silly program, and I get to do whatever I want. There's a moment don't worry, this isn't a spoiler, there's a moment right at the start of tonight's new episode where Doctor Who kills loads of people, and it's never mentioned. What happens is the Doctor accidentally shuts down all the electricity in a hospital.
Yeah,
that's never going to come up again.
Never going to come up again. Never
addressed. Just for him to make a silly face, like, "Oh, did I do that?"
But that's not the show. And there are versions of even of New Who that we've had over the years where that would matter, and it would be like, not in Russell's one. No, he's just like, yeah, I did it because it was silly on the screen at the time, and the kids would go, ha, and that's all that matters. And I respect that. You have to readjust. But now I've readjusted. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's so wild. It's so funny because like the show has gotten so big now that like even if you reference Rose now, like if Shudigawa at some point brings up like, oh yeah, this mate Rose, there are people who would be like, who's that? I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Like
adults.
I've been watching since Matt Smith. Who the fuck is
exactly,
Rose?
Yeah. Grown adults who have been watching Doctor Who all their lives. Rose will not be in that,
I did like that in this clip, David Tennant does get like a little moment, just like with the jacket.
Runaway Bride, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry to bring it back to...
Quite right.
the topic at hand, but...
How many women have you abducted?
That's my friend.
Where is she? Hopped out for a spacewalk?
She's gone.
And I feel like that's enough for us. And it also is interesting, I don't know, from a character perspective to see, like, I feel like David Tennant in the last clip in Doomsday, when he's alone, is, like, very subtly different than he is when he's around somebody in terms of the way that he deals with his grief and everything. I just thought that was a really cool thing.
Like they definitely don't like abandon it, but you can somewhat tell they're putting things in for people who have watched. But so much of this, like when I referenced in the beginning, they're basically doing like a recap of what the show is.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot like they're kind of expecting that people did not watch the last few seasons with Rose. Yeah. They came in because of the stunt casting of Catherine Tate.
Well, that's possible. And then the other thing,
it all,
and the other thing is it's Christmas Day. So, like, loads of people who would never have seen it before are just like, oh, let's put the telly on, or they've got someone round who does want to watch Doctor Who, or whatever. And so, yeah, there's going to be loads of people who don't know what this is. If it is, this is Christmas Day, right? This is a Christmas special, isn't it?
Yeah,
I thought so.
And it's such a wildly different way versus how, like, I got into it, because I was just watching these on Netflix. Yeah. So this was just the next one on Netflix. I had to kind of, like... I learned that they did Christmas specials. I don't think it was until around like once I got like contemporaneous and had like was watching Matt Smith. I was like, oh well, I know they did Christmas episodes. I'm like, no, those were full specials, and often there's like an entire year where they didn't have any content other than that Christmas special. I was like, but that was just the next one that played on Netflix, and then I got one immediately afterward.
Yeah.
What do you mean I have to wait now?
Streaming doesn't really know how to handle specials because computers are not good at dealing with, well, okay, I understand seasons, I understand episodes. Yeah. And then what is this thing?
Yeah.
And granted, it's preferable to how Disney Plus is doing it, where it's kind of segmented everything. I think that it's very difficult. as much as I talk about, oh, it's kind of weird that I didn't have that that kind of understanding that I'm watching a Christmas special versus watching like a regular episode. It's helpful in terms of just getting me into the show, as opposed to now to what you were saying of like, okay, well, you can start with the series, but also you should probably watch these 3 episodes that reference back to a bunch of other stuff that you need to have a Max subscription in order to watch.
Now, as for the Christmas specials, I mean, so the first one is the episode where we first see David Tennant, apart from when he goes, Barcelona. You know, his first actual episode is the first Christmas special. And it was the first Christmas special. They'd never done that before, really, in Doctor Who. You know, I'm sure it had been on near Christmas, but this was them doing the new thing. And this is the second, I think, right?
Yeah.
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 And that's interesting, because now they were having to decide what a Doctor Who Christmas special is, whereas before, all they had to decide was what's the Doctor Who Christmas special. Like, we're doing one. There may not be a series 2. Like, I'm sure they knew by then that there would be, but you know what I mean? Nothing's really set in stone. So they're doing this thing. And the first Christmas special, it's still one of my favourite episodes of New Who, because I just think David Tennant is a phenomenon in it. That whole thing, the big red button, the day we arrive on the planet, all of the fight in hand, all of this stuff, it's just astonishing. And this is his second go at it, and it wasn't as good. I didn't think. It was fine. I've made that sound like it's his fault. It's not. In fact, God, wasn't he good in this clip as well? But both of them. This clip, both of them are absolutely brilliant in it. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. Well, and I think also, like, the thing that I like more about this episode than the Christmas invasion is that the Doctor is in it for more than 10 minutes.
Yes,
you know?
that obviously is.
Yeah.
That is an issue with the Christmas invasion, although, of course, in that case, it ramps you up. You're like, here he comes, so it works. But yes.
Yeah. It's like kind of a difference between, I think the Christmas invasion does feel like it's made for people who watch that previous one.
Yeah.
Of like, you're getting, so even when I saw it, like, and not kind of knowing in terms of like a Christmas special, and even now I didn't know that that's just something of like, that kind of started here. I just kind of had the understanding, like, well, I guess you do your season premieres around Christmas time. I guess that's the thing that I understand. So you tend to have like a season premiere, have you be a Christmas episode. Okay, that makes sense to me. And then it's later when they're doing like a dedicated Christmas episode. I'm like, that seems weird for a season premiere. But the Christmas invasion is very much, you have watched a season of television. Now we're prepping you for the next season. This one feels a lot of, we're kind of assuming that you've watched none of that. And in case you've watched none of that, here's something new for you.
Right. Yeah. Because I believe that, like, in the UK, I got the sense that, like, the viewing figures for Doctor Who Christmas specials are, like, a little higher than they are for the rest of the show generally.
I'm sure I mean...
It's like church.
Yeah.
It's like church.
Kind of
it's
is.
church.
Yeah.
I go on Christmas and Easter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, Christmas Day, you get around and watch Doctor. It was so interesting how quickly it started to feel like a Christmas tradition. Like, already by this one, we were all like, yeah, we've obviously got to watch we've got to watch the Doctor Who Christmas special. That's a Christmas tradition. And then we all realised, like, no, it's happened once before. And then that's never changed. We all, like my family, we all watch the Doctor Who Christmas special. We stop what we're doing.
That's a weird thing for me, because I've heard of that to the point that I thought that was something that was continued on from the classic series because of the way that people talk about it.
That was how good they were at making this. Like that, it really did cement itself that quickly. Yeah. The same thing. By the way, the same thing is true of the Mariah Carey Christmas song. As soon as that came out, it felt like it had always been out. Same with Doctor Who Christmas specials.
True. When will they get Mariah Carey on a Doctor Who Christmas special?
When are they gonna? Nah, they need to do like a Voyage of the Damned thing, like they did with Kylie Minogue, and just get Mariah Carey to be a companion for an episode.
But Kylie is an actor. Is Mariah Carey an actor? I don't know. Was she a Disney Club kid or something?
Is Billie Piper an actor?
Well, quite.
See what I did there?
Wasn't she in Glitter? I feel like there's a Mariah Carey movie.
Oh, well, there we are then. I bet there is. I should
Yes,
have.
Glitter. It's like considered one of the worst movies of all time.
Ah.
I only know this because my dad had like a thing with his friends where like whenever they had like a Christmas gift that they would all pass around to each other that was just a DVD copy of Glitter. And they would just always give each other. Whoever received it last time would give it on to the next person.
Great. How do you determine the unlucky winner? Who gets it each time?
I have no idea. I don't know what the thing was, if it was just the person that you hated the most that year.
Oh, and that's how they find out. They're like, oh, it was me.
The only piece of behind-the-scenes info that I have for this episode is that, and this is not reflected in Stitches in Time, but I have a reason for that.
That's a good name for this, by the way. Well done.
Thank you. So this scene was basically shot twice because one of them was like, there's the teaser at the end of, you have the like last little moments of Doomsday, and then you have the Runaway Bride, but they had to shoot them differently because there was a different director of photography on each of those. Right. So, Ernest Vince or Vince or something.
How's that spelled?
Vincze.
Ooh, I don't know.
Anyway, that guy, Ernie, he and the other DP, Rory Taylor, much easier to pronounce. They apparently had just like slightly different lighting styles in terms of the TARDIS interior, and one of them was liked to do a lot more of the kind of green lighting, and the other kind of liked the more golden lighting, and so that's why they had to basically shoot this scene again for the Christmas special because they were using a different cinematographer, right, which I think is really funny. And usually when two scenes appear in different ways, I do like a split screen thing. But I didn't do that because I felt like it sort of falls into the same category as like classic Doctor Who, the way like
when they like would react the cliffhanger at the start of the next one. Yeah.
So I just kind of use the law of being reasonable about
You may have to split screen one classic Who cliffhanger, which is the one where they completely change the alien head that looks through the window in the next episode. Do you know that? It's an early one.
Which one is that? Is that the Sensorites?
Might be. They're like little old egg-headed hairy fellas.
Yeah, and I think that's the Sensorites.
In the cliffhanger,
I didn't know they changed the faces on them.
Well, you will when you see it, when you next look at it, because when the alien looks through the window, the Sensorite looks through the window in the cliffhanger, it's really scary. And then in the next one, he's just like this nice little guy. He's like, hello, I'm an alien.
It feels like they hadn't read the script for the next episode. Like, we need this one to be less scary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, when they refilmed it, do we know how far apart they refilmed it? Was it like, a year later or like the next day? Or
Oh, I don't know. I think there was probably some time in between.
Well,
I would imagine.
It's a silly reason, but the reason I ask that is because David Tennant, in my opinion, is one of those people who, around now, just had what, if he was younger, I would call a growth spurt. He just had one of those times where he just turned a corner he just looked different suddenly. Like he just got older. Yeah. He just got older, and of course he's never a very good-looking bloke, and that didn't change. But David Tennant, in his very early Doctor Who stuff, just looks really different to me than shortly afterwards. It's like he's got big triangular eyebrows to begin with, and then that kind of settles down. Maybe he just shaved his eyebrows a bit. I don't know. But so yeah, when he first appears, he looks so much younger to me than like than like I think he generally looks across most of his run on Doctor Who. And of course, I'm not having a go. Like we all suddenly look a little bit older, and he doesn't come out of it looking old. But
I feel like he like also just kind of like fills out a little more because he's like always been like a little lollipop headed in my mind of like he's just kind of like rail thin, and particularly like with the big hair that they're doing of this period of this time period, and he kind of like it looks like he has maybe eaten something between the last time they filmed and now.
And but when I was watching this, in his face I saw more of the young Tennant than I was expecting. I thought that there was this one David Tennant, he looked this one way throughout most of his go, and then there was his first episode where he looked much younger. But I saw aspects of that much younger Tennant now. Maybe it's just his hairdo. Maybe they just, once the hair starts going up rather than sort of down and about, maybe that's the change. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be. I mean, like, he looks, the main difference that I know is like when he showed up in the 50th, he looked very different. Yeah. And then obviously he looked very different in the 60th.
It's plausible that might even be what I'm thinking of, I suppose.
Oh, that might be it.
I don't think so, but it's plausible.
Yeah, because I feel like they probably only shot these like a couple months apart or something.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I don't notice as much of a change in the 50th, but I think that is again because of like due to the time period that I was watching it under. So like all of that happened so like those seem like the same guy because I watched them at the same time. Versus like the 60th, that feels very, very different. And part of that, because like I had seen David Tennant in other things and he looked the same, but it's seeing him be the Doctor again, and they put him in just like the same scrawny suit.
The problem,
and it's like you shouldn't be wearing that scrawny suit no more.
The problem they had is exactly this is the Arnold Rimmer problem, right? When they did some recent Red Dwarf series, they just didn't get the wig right. They just didn't quite get it right. I don't know if David Tennant had a wig on or if that was just his hairstyle or whatever, but it's like they go to great lengths to recreate his hairdo, but it isn't. It's another one. It's different. So it's like it's sticking straight up. It's a little bit more like the hairdo in the Hungry episode. You know that one? The
Idiot's Lantern. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks a bit more like that to me. Something's not quite right. It doesn't look like his. I know he's older now, so it doesn't suit a younger man's hairdo. I get that. But it isn't the same one. And I think they should have done more at the sides than they did, instead of concentrating it all right in the middle to look like a sort of mohawk in a way. And I think that has a lot to do with why he suddenly looks like quite a bit different. Because he's still now good-looking bloke, Obviously he's older and everything. I wonder if... And of course I wonder how much of it is like... Because I sort of, in the 50th one, I didn't really see a difference between the way he looked and the way he last looked as Doctor Who. But is that because I'd watched, what's the other thing that the fella from the Jodie years made with him in it? I can't remember anyone's name. Yes.
Chris Chibnall,
Broadchurch, exactly. With the lead piping. Is that why? Have I just had watched him in other stuff until then, so I'd had the gradual slide to how he looked now.
That could be.
But yeah. But anyway, I was so happy when he did come back for those 60th anniversary ones, and like just was the same. He can just do the same stuff.
Yeah, incredible.
Nearly 20 years. It's so much later.
So good.
I am looking forward to the big finish. David Tennant goes to therapy audiobooks.
David Tennant goes to therapy.
If it doesn't, big finish. I got the pitch. It's just David Tennant sitting on a couch. He has to talk about his feelings.
Yeah.
I love this. I think this is a great idea.
That's a prime example.
The end of every single one is Catherine Tate banging on the door. They're like, your hour's up. We gotta go. I got a toenail appointment.
Yeah. That's a prime example of what I was talking about before, where Russell can just put something in that kind of doesn't make sense, but we all go, yeah, okay. That thing where it's like, yeah, don't worry, you get therapy later, and I'm your next regeneration, so I'm fine. So yeah, all right, okay, sure.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that's up there with like, this is the Blinks. Okay.
Hello, the Blinks. Oh, we love the Blinks.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Have they decided? So when Nishuti got the hammer and smacked the two TARDISes.
Oh, I always forget that. It's so delightful every time I
Sutek
remember.
on both of them? Which one is Sutek on?
Yes, he must be.
Oh
right?
no. Oh no, there's still a Sutek.
He's created a second Sutek.
There's two tech.
Yeah, there's still an undefeated Sutek.
Well, we'll find out.
I'm predicting the season 2 finale. It's
exactly.
Sutek.
It's and it's just the same again because he's got the same plan and is doing the same thing. just run that same episode again.
Yeah, perfect. Dave, where can people find you online?
Well, Blue Sky, Demon Tomato Dave, .bluesky.social. And YouTube, Demon Tomato Dave. That's where you're going to go. You're going to go to, actually, once you've listened to this, everybody, this is what you're going to do, listeners. You're going to go to Demon Tomato Dave on YouTube, or you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to search Demon Tomato Dave, one word, Doctor Who, and you're going to get a treat. You're going to get the video that's the 5-minute history of all of Doctor Who that I've done. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's a little bit out of date now. I released it on the day that the first Jodie Whittaker episode aired. So it's a little bit behind, but it doesn't matter. You'll get the hang of it. But also, you can go and listen. I've got these other couple of podcasts. So in the UK, we had a Sonic the Hedgehog comic, bespoke, our own one. And it was, unlike the ones over in America, it was actually based on the games. And it actually had stuff from the games in it. And it was really good. And it was made by some of the people who are doing the best comics in the world. It's like 2000 AD people. And it's just dead good. And me and my friend Chris McFeely, who makes Transformers The Basics on YouTube, were just annoyed that America had completely bulldozed over all of this history because it's from a little country that doesn't matter. And it's like, okay, we get that, but this was better though. We had a really good thing. So we have made Sonic the Comic, the podcast. You'll find it at stctp.zone. It is issue by issue. We go through it, but also we take you there. We go, because it had news and reviews and it had some pop culture stuff in it. Whenever they mention something that you need context for, you bet you're getting the context. I did a 10-minute lecture on exactly what Mr. Blobby is and why. It's that sort of thing. You're going to love it. You're going to feel like you're in the 90s. You're going to hear the 90s around you. It's very tightly edited, everybody. You're going to have a nice time. Episode 8, we were covering the origin story that Sonic had in it. Just made it into a radio drama. Why not? I just edited all sound effects. Just something I felt like doing. So, good podcast. You'll like it. stctp.zone, Sonic the Comic, the podcast. Also, I got another one with a chap called Jahan Ranasingh, who you don't know from anything. And he is absolutely determined to convince me that it is worth treating the live-action Disney remakes they've been doing as if they're films and really give them the time of day and review them properly. So we've been doing that, and with mixed results. But it does mean that we have, and they're much less edited. So we're talking if you want to listen to someone ranting about how much they hate the live-action Beauty and the Beast for, I'm not kidding you, 6 hours across 2 episodes, but still 6 hours.
Wow.
And if you want to be riveted to every minute of that because it's good, Serious Business is the podcast for you. Animation fans, go and find Serious Business. But all of this will be linked to, from my Blue Sky, Demon Tomato Dave. You'll find me there. Goodbye and hello, and I'll see you again.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us. And listeners, I hope you'll tune in next week when we are going to be talking about the 1996 TV movie. Have a good night.
Yeah!
Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca McGlynn. Art by Mandy Oquendo. Logo by Ben Paddon. Produced by Becca McGlynn and Ben Paddon. Check us out on socials at Who Stitched.
Oh, Becca,
I can't hear Becca.
Sound-wise.
Oh, okay, good. Not just me. Yeah, sorry, I can see you.
Oh, it's because I accidentally pressed the mute button on the front of my microphone because I was trying to move it around.
Oh, whoopsie doopsie.
And I didn't want a bunch of in your ears while I was doing
Thank
that.
you. That's very, very kind.
Anyway.
Hold on, wait a minute. What are you dressed like that for?
I'm going tenpin bowling. What do you think, Dumbo? I was halfway up the aisle.
Yeah. Grown adults who have been watching Doctor Who all their lives. Rose will not be in that, yeah. Yes, Yes, it's interesting being old, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm aiming for wisdom someday soon. I don't know when that's going to come. Look at this though. Good progress being made here. I've got a nice little white streak right in the middle of my beard. It's dead good.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I've looked out there.
Maybe something pulling you into alignment with the chronon shell. Maybe something macrobiding your DNA with the interior matrix. Maybe a genetics. What was that for?
Get me to the church!
Right, sorry about that. I'm back now.
That's all right.
Are you? Did you guys keep recording, or should I start a new recording? Because I kept recording.
Yeah.
We just kept recording.
We just kept recording.
You've stopped, or you've?
No.
No,
We have not
we kept recording.
I don't know why I couldn't tell the difference between those words. Then
Hello.
let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
It actually works because it meant that we all got room tone.
Yeah. That was kind of perfect.
I am so in the mood to do a Doctor Who podcast right now. I've just come away from the new episode that aired tonight on it aired on Disney Plus. It's been there all day, but something makes us not watch it until it's meant to be on at 7 p.m. or whatever, and with our tea as God intended, and so that's what we've been doing. And
We did. We stayed up until midnight last night and watched it all together.
It was a lot of fun.
I am too old for that. When Russell was last series, Russell was like, "Well, why don't you just have these? Why don't you just stay up till midnight and then you can all watch it together? It'll be brilliant." And I was like, "Well, it's because I'm 43."
Yeah, it was definitely like, I'll do it for this one, not again.
Claim to fame, by the way. Claim to fame. My wife has cuddled Russell T Davies.
Oh.
Because for a while she just worked in the same building as him and just encountered him once or twice.
Amazing.
She said that he asks you what your first name is and he calls you by that name in such a direct way that it properly feels like a kid's TV presenter or something talking to you, and it's the most wonderful feeling.
That's delightful.
All of that is a compliment, by the way.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice, apparently.
That's delightful.
Yeah.
All right.
We would
Okay.
hate for it the other way and be like, oh, cuddled by Russell T Davies. She had to file a restraining order. It's a huge thing. Love the show, though.
Brackets complimentary. I'm sure she was the initiator of the cuddle.
Oh gosh, I really don't want to have to cancel Russell T Davies.
No, God,
That'd be a shame.
I mean, the Eccleston gave it a go to be like, I don't know about this guy, but we all sort of went, oh, we just like you both. Is that all right?
Yeah.
It seems a lot like he was like, well, I expected more of you, and then you ended up being a producer of a show, which is inherently puts you in a bad position to be a bad guy.
I mean, it's one of these things. Obviously, I think basically, from what I can tell, and of course I don't know the full thing, but it seems like Chris is a fiercely moral, out of the two of them, you'd trust him more with something that mattered. But Russell is just like an excitable puppy child man, and he's nice as well. And it's just, you know what I mean? I want to like them both.
Yeah.
And right now I can. There's a non-zero chance I might meet Eccleston one day because I live not too far. I mean, we're in Manchester, and that's where Russell has a production company somewhere. Which is why Abby bumped into him there. But Christopher Eccleston, when he posts a video of himself walking through a park, that park is sort of half an hour's drive from where we live, and we've been there a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
So, non-zero chance. Haven't met him. I hope one day I do, and I will not bother him. I'll give him a nod, and I'll expect one in return, and that'll be that.
Really? You don't
No,
want to
not
give
a
him a
cuddle.
cuddle?
If he comes in for a cuddle, he's getting a cuddle back. But I feel like he's a guy who wants leaving alone, you know?
I've only met him at the Doctor Who convention out here because he was signing stuff, and he was signing some of Ben's stuff, and Ben's telling the whole story and holding back tears. And Eccleston's being really nice, but I can also see him kind of being like, "Oh, and the next person," and I'm just behind Ben, and I'm like, "No, I'm with them. You can continue having this conversation. I'm not waiting my turn." And he just looks at me and then looks at Ben and goes, "Nice."
Which is the correct, that's the correct way to answer.
Don't worry, Chris. I'm not interested. Ben gets one extra person's go.
I'd like to cede my time to Ben.
Yeah. And be like, I also appreciate your work, but it didn't save my life, so I think Ben gets an extra go.
Don't get me wrong, I think you're all right, but this is Ben's time.
All right, should we start a podcast?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.